Hi, welcome to You Belong Here, the place to be for positive stories of immigrant women from all around the world. I am Porcia Chen Silverberg. I run a multimedia social enterprise that supports immigrants and their allies. My favorite project is this show, where you will meet so many amazing, interesting women from everywhere who will share their stories. They will share their challenges, successes, and how they are living meaningful American dreams. I believe we all deserve to live our American dreams and live happily ever after right here, right now. My guest today is Regina Yin. Regina came to the U.S. as a double minority, Asian and woman. She came during a very interesting era in this country in the 1960s, during very active civil rights movement. Regina has such a phenomenal story because she has evolved from a clinical social worker to a business owner to now running a business event center that's just completely brand new. She's launching in 2019. And on top of that, Regina has a philanthropic empire. You will hear so much more. By the end of the show, I'm sure you too will be inspired. So stay tuned and let's talk to Regina and find out about this amazing, amazing journey. Wow, you have accomplished more than most people have in a lifetime already. So.
Well, at my age, I think I came to this country after my college education.
Okay.
So I've been in this country from the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. And I think not only this country has changed a lot, but
sure.
I believe I have really benefited a lot from my life journey. And Portia, I'm so happy to be here to share. And the reason I want to be here, so to not only to share, but hopefully my story will also benefit some other women.
Absolutely. That's the whole reason why we're here. That's the reason why I started the show, because I feel immigrants have so much positive contributions to this country. And really, all of us are immigrants from just different generations.
Correct.
Right? And I believe some immigrants actually don't know or haven't been involved in their local community as much as they can. And to me, that's part of belonging. That's part of being a truly engaged member of a community. So that's why I was really, really excited to have you here, not only because of your business empire, which is amazing, stunning, for sure. But even more so, I really wanted to hear how you and your husband has started a papa. So I just love to hear about maybe the beginning. You came here from Taiwan.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. And actually, I was not like what I am today. And I was very naive and actually very shy, very quiet, just a foreign student, and going to graduate school of social work. And but you can say I was ambitious, but I had no clue what a clinical social worker would do.
Right.
But I think I came to this country, maybe I should start a little bit about my motivation.
Please.
And it was a political reason, actually. And it was actually arranged by my father. And being a nationalist government general, working, I think, in Taiwan, or fled from communist China to Taiwan in the 50s, early 50s. And he really felt it's good for the younger generation to go abroad to study, and that his motivation was for me to come to America so he can also come to join me. And so I think the mission was, well, daughter, you go to a foreign country, you study hard, you get a job, and I'm going to join you so you cannot fail. So
No pressure there.
no question there. And you can say just a one-way ticket.
Oh, wow.
Okay, and enough money to get you started. And so as a foreign student, immigrant, student visa, and only money was flight to this country.
Wow.
And I said, well, how I'm going to make a living, how I'm going to pay tuition.
Right.
But there was no money. So I think I have to share with you, I stayed with an American doctor family and basically helping with the household work and babysitting, childcare, nanny work or whatever.
Right.
And he was a doctor for University Hospital. So naturally, they have 6 or 7 kids, so a lot of work. So I earned my room and board, and by staying with them, and then I worked some of the summertime and wintertime weekends and earned my tuition. And I finished my graduate school 2 years.
Wow.
And no, it was in the 60s, and this country was under a lot of like, I think a good program. One of the program was the Great Society by President Johnson, and they needed a lot of social worker, and they ran a big, nice welfare program and mental health counseling, and so I joined the working force, and I got a decent job, and so subsequently my parents did come, and I was very happy, and I think that's kind of lesson 1 for me. What I learned as a young immigrant was like when you are put in a circumstance with very little other options, and you have to succeed. You got to make it. So I think that had a lot to do with my father pushing me, and I not only I finished my degree and I got a decent job with salary. So I was a social worker, and I think another learning was as a clinical social worker, not only I think I had to do a good job, but I had to learn about American culture, so-called social problems or mental health problems coming from a foreign country as an immigrant. And it really opened the door for me to get to know the American great society, and also the dark side of the society. And fortunately, I call them my really adopted parents in this country, Dr. Crawford. They took care of me, and they also opened their home, and with the kids said, well, you can do any kind of term paperwork on my family. So I did a lot of family dynamic work, and so that was probably the only class I got A, you know. So that was great, and I learned a lot about American family, even though doctor family. But all the family, sometimes they have similar dynamics. So it was great help for me later, and so I worked 18 years as a social worker. And I know I forgot your question. And I think in the 18 years, and I learned so much. And I learned some of the people this country was able to help them. And not only with financial aid, but with counseling help. And I find out the greatness of this country, and as a clinical social worker. And between my husband and I met my husband at the same school, University of Washington in Seattle. And after we got married, we had we have 3 children. And I don't know, should I go on to talk about my?
Sure. I mean, it's fascinating, and I love that you have such great appreciation for this country and the doctor family you stayed with. I think they're so representative of most Americans I have ever met. there's just such a sense of generosity and a spirit of, wanting to help fellow man. And so I find that wonderful that you still have such optimism after seeing the dark side of some of the social problems.
Right. And I think as an immigrant, and I do want to share, my father, of course, sort of like a victim of the political system. And I think in this world, even today, and I feel for some of the victims of the war. And I think it's sometimes, most of the time, not necessary. And my father was one of them. And when he did come to this country, and he was eagerly waiting to get on the plane to come to join me. Almost the minute I got a job, he said, well, here I come. Okay. And so finally, my parents came, and so I appreciate how people helped me. And my father particularly, and he was so thankful and so appreciative. And he said everything, it was just really like a dream. And for example, he said, this country, everybody obey the law. When you go through a stop sign, you stop.
That's right.
Even you don't have any car coming, you stop anyway because that's a law.
That's right.
He said, that's never possible anywhere else. That, and
it's a good point.
Yeah. And he was sort of like a major and, in the army. And he came to this country. He said, well, I have a friend who runs a Chinese restaurant, and he needs help. I'm going to go help.
Wow.
So my parents, they worked for this owner of the restaurant for 9 years.
Wow.
Until
in Seattle?
Yeah, from 60 to 69. And
wow.
And the story was, he said, I enjoy working, and it's so peaceful, this country. Everybody law-abiding, and everybody was so nice. And I drive a car. He knows how to drive. And even the police officers stop me, and if I smile at the officer, and he didn't even give me a ticket. He said, people really are kind. I said, what?
I love it.
I think that's the way to go. You just keep smiling.
Yeah, I smiled when I got pulled over.
I know.
She's like, I've had that.
I know, and he smiled a lot, and he really enjoyed the work. And I remember every year end, and he and my mom, they received bonus from the restaurant.
Right.
He said, I never received any bonus. I'm just doing my job.
I love this country.
So those are the examples. And then I have to say that he said, when I pass away, I want to stay in this country. So, and he passed away on Thanksgiving Day. And I think this was about, 18 years ago. And the last thing he said was like, I'm so thankful I made the right decision that I asked you to go to America. So as an immigrant, and even to this date, and I am very, very grateful. And I do want to share, there are times as an immigrant, and I didn't feel that I have the fair or same opportunity either. And I think I have learned, as an immigrant, it's okay. And I think as long as I get the opportunity somehow. So I think I learned the process, and I learned to survive. And I can share with you about my the business adventure.
That is quite an adventure. Please tell us. You're a social worker to owner of, what was it, 35 McDonald's? Some sort 32, of a legend.
Right.
32, right.
And I didn't really intend to expand to so many McDonald's franchise, restaurants. But it happened at the beginning in the early 80s when my husband got laid off as engineer. The economy in this country, every so many years,
Sure.
you go through the cycle. So, and he said, well, at age close to 50, I better do something different. And, you know, I worked so hard, and if I become a chief engineer, then if I have to go through another cycle to work, and
Right.
I don't think people are going to, you know, let me to become another chief engineer.
Right.
And I don't have that many years. So he was going to go to the franchise business of gas station.
Oh,
Okay? And so he put in his application. But make a long story short, in the end, he discovered McDonald franchise is a very well-run, you know, restaurant business. And he said, as an engineer, I can learn about their system. Okay?
Ah,
All right?
right.
So Porcia, the story goes, I'm determined. Okay, and I know my husband and I, we've been married over 50 years, but
Congratulations.
he's a very stubborn man. And if he is determined to go into that business, and then McDonald's says, we don't want you because you don't have a business experience and you don't understand American culture,
Oh,
and I think we wouldn't even pick you as an applicant. But anyway, he was determined, and I don't want to get into it, but in the early 80s, and somehow he managed, and he got into the first restaurant located in Oakland, and the worst neighborhood on 68th Avenue in the foothill. And I don't know. I said, well, I don't know what you're doing here. And McDonald Corporation said, well, I don't know what you're doing here. Actually, I don't think you're going to succeed.
Oh,
Okay,
there's the challenge.
Yeah, because you know, from the very beginning, and he never received any support from the corporation.
Wow.
And so the transaction of our first restaurant, somebody sold to CC, I think 3 times more of the fair price.
Oh.
So when you buy a business and you pay too much money, and McDonald's to begin with is a penny profit, okay, and you're bound to losing, you know, business very fast. So the whole, I think, time actually everybody expected him to fail, but he was determined. So my 3 children, one was going to go to graduate school, law school, a private law school, and another one going to go to a private college. My youngest one is in high school, and we needed money, you see?
Right.
And I got to keep my job,
Right.
right? And he said, I am determined, I'm going to make this work. And this is a good system, and it's a good company, and I'm learning already, and I want you to quit your job to join me. I said, no, I don't think I can do that.
Right,
and
the steady paycheck, insurance.
you know, I have medical insurance from the government, and I have benefits, and I have pension plan.
Right.
And,
security.
And the kids, we need, you know, I mean, house and food on the table, and I can't quit. And he was determined. He said, let's talk. Let's talk. And but knowing McDonald has, you know, is a good company and is a good product, so I did quit my job, and it was really, really a very, very risky decision. But I think then lesson for me is sometimes in your lifetime, you need to take some risk.
Right.
And if you know this is a good opportunity, and so we did that. And then the business was going bad because the sale of the restaurant historically was very, very low. It was poorly run, and on top of a lot of security problems. And literally people say, you know, this restaurant, they're not selling regular Coke. They're selling the other kind of Coke. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh
I said,
my
oh my
gosh.
God.
Wow.
So you know, your managers, your employees, they're ringleader in
Oh
this
no.
town.
Oh
I
my
said, oh
gosh.
my God. So my husband said, well, we got to make it work. And I tell you what, why don't I focus on the operation?
Uh-huh.
And you are a social worker. You do something about this situation, people
Right.
issue. I said, well, I don't know what I can do. But so
Wow.
I first of all, you know, I started talking to the employees and I try to hire employees. I was determined, well, if I hire 10 or 100 of them, I got to have one or two good ones.
Yeah, right.
And I started talking to the school, and then the school teachers and the principal, they strangely, they are very eager to help me.
Not so
And they
strange.
said, well, you want to help our young students? Very good deal, okay? And actually, we're looking for, you know, business people to work to help us. I said, great, and you know, you can help me, I can help you. So that's how it started, and I became a social worker again, and working with school, working with the church, and working with the community, and we started like oratorical contest for Martin Luther King Day, and all the schools participate.
Wow.
Then we get all the McDonald's to contribute, to work
Wow.
together, and financially and also time-wise. And we had every year on Martin Luther King Day a big kind of contest, and the kids were really excited, and so slowly we managed somehow. We're not a bad person, and I eventually, my husband and I, we joined NAACP.
Wow.
And we are the only color people, not black. We're brown, but
yes,
that's okay.
Lighter shade, yeah.
That's okay because their mission is for all the color people.
Of course.
And we were even honored as like you know, best contributor in the community, and that's okay. And we were the only Asian in the NAACP convention.
Wow.
And I was very, very excited, very, very happy. And so it took probably a year and a half, maybe nearly 2 years, for the restaurant sale to go from the bottom to all the very top in that area.
Wow.
And so, and I think the corporate sort of changed their perception about us as an immigrant.
Right,
and it's very, very, you know, naive or, you know, not qualified McDonald franchisee.
Engineer, social worker, yeah.
Yeah, Portia, and actually we became outstanding kind of franchisee.
Yes, I love it.
Well, we didn't even know what we were doing. Other than, I think it's typical, a lot of immigrants, and I have to say, you know, people I meet, they all know the opportunity, they work hard. And in my heart, I know this is the golden opportunity, the truly golden arch. I mean, we have a restaurant, all right, and from McDonald Golden Arch. You know, where can you get something like that? And never I could have dreamed to become a McDonald owner.
I love it.
And to backtrack a little bit, and we did kind of, you know, do some investment in the real estate. Okay, in the 70s, 80s, California real estate, I guess we kind of hit the gold pot.
Oh,
you know?
I love it.
But we had to sell them, and so we could get into McDonald.
Oh,
Yeah,
got it.
So that helped, the investment.
Okay, got it.
But then afterwards, it took us a while to recover. As soon as the sale goes up 2 or 3 times, and not only our name comes, you know, up too, and then our bottom line, I think financially we also made a little bit money.
Yeah, probably just a little. So I know you're not going to believe me when I tell you that the show is winding down, because it seemed like we just started our conversation and you have so much more I wanted to hear. So, but before we do, I'd like to know, from the McDonald's empire, 32, to today, I know you've really stepped back from that. You and your husband started a wonderful nonprofit. I'm actually on the board of the East Bay chapter, which is APAPA.
Right.
And we have your information on the video so people can find out more about how APAPA is encouraging Asian Americans to become more civically engaged. And in addition to that, I would love to hear real quick, maybe share with our audience that what you're doing with the event center in 2019.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think from my profession as a social worker and also business owner in McDonald, I have discovered, Porcia, I think,
Yeah.
I think that relationship is very important. And the reason we were able to expand to McDonald's restaurants, and it's a long story, 34 years, and it was, at the beginning, was like always leftovers, broken restaurants, and which was fine. And I think as an immigrant, and I think, I think whatever opportunity we have, even is leftover opportunity, I feel is okay, because we are recent immigrants. And so we fix the restaurant, and a one and a two and again, and until such time, and then we were awarded decent restaurant and start making money the first day. So that was good. And a brand new restaurant, that was even better. So this is how we started. But in the process, we had a lot of relationship with people. And I don't believe people can really make success in a vacuum or in isolation.
We're all in this together.
And all together, and it basically it's like you help me and I help you.
And I'm going to have to stop us right here. And I'm thinking we need to come back, have you come back again and share the rest of your story, because there's so much more we didn't touch on. And now Regina and I would love to hear from you. Her story is, there's just so many more chapters we really need to hear. But in the meantime, we would love to hear from you. What's your story? What was one thing that touched you, that resonated with you? Please leave a comment. Please check out youbelongherefoundation.org, because we're all in this together, like Regina said, and we are all here because we all belong here. And I'm Porcia Chen Silverberg, and this production comes to you from Palo Alto, California. Thanks for joining us.
Whether you got a family or single parenting, or you're Asian, African, European, or American, whether you pray to God or atheist is irrelevant, 'cause what you got inside is the same as all your preference. Troubled and the homeless, can you say everywhere you are is where your home is? Sharing your heart in the dark just like a lotus, letting your light shine bright so you can float it. Everlasting love of grace like those did Jesus, Muhammad, Krishna, Buddha, and Moses, who carried the weight of